Our next speaker is Sara Flounders. Sara is a longtime activist and author based in New York City. She's the leader of the United National Antiwar Coalition and the International Action Center. She's also the author of numerous books, including Capitalism on a Ventilator, The Impact of COVID-19 in China and the US, which she co-authored with Lee SiuHin, and NATO in the Balkans, Voices of Opposition, co-authored with Ramsey Clark. Also, her latest book is Sanctions, a Wrecking Ball in a Global Economy. So, Sara, please take the floor.
Thank you, Radhika, and thank you to the International Manifesto. Happy anniversary in this year in which the world has changed. We're celebrating a project, a document written just a year ago. Is it relevant? Yes. Because it's clearly taking sides in a global struggle and siding with every country and movement trying to break free of decaying imperialism. It's looking at emerging developments. The manifesto is partisan, takes sides, so it's better prepared to understand the new developments and to immediately respond. And this has been a year of developments. The US-dominated unipolar world is unraveling at the seams. Now, the International Manifesto begins with an interesting historic comparison. They explain the year following the release of Marx's Communist Manifesto was a tumultuous year of worldwide revolutionary activity. Now, this past year has not been a year of revolutionary upheaval, but it has been a year of unexpected, unpredicted upheaval. The International Manifesto group launched through multipolarity to socialism in October of 2021, and they couldn't have imagined this year. The present expanding NATO war on Russia is not in the manifesto. It wasn't being discussed. It burst upon us less than 3 months after the debacle of the long US war in Afghanistan that ended in ignominious defeat. Now, a seismic shift is sending shockwaves through the global economy. We are on the cusp today of the biggest global capitalist crisis in history. This will change everything. It will force millions into motion. Their survival is at stake. And the French strikes are the first glimmer of what's coming. The well-established capitalist disorder, dominated by US imperialism and in place since World War II, is now on such shaky ground. According to the IMF, all economic indicators point to a severe economic contraction in 2023. The Federal Reserve is shutting down the US and the global economy with rate hikes. In comparison, China's cohesion and continued socialist construction is a game changer in world terms. China has become the biggest threat to the imperialist world order. 2/3 of the world's countries today trade more with China than the US. US strategy to encircle China with missiles, bases, aircraft carriers, disruptions and interferences in Hong Kong and Xinjiang. US sanctions are so sweeping they threaten to bar every form of technology to China. US corporate rulers are united, Democrat and Republican, and they vote almost unanimously against China while voting billions of new arms to Taiwan. The US-led West is waging war against Russia over Ukraine while threatening another war with China over Taiwan. Nuclear war has never seemed closer. What they call decapitation drills were just recently held in South Korea against the DPRK. So in all of this, the manifesto represents, as it says, many socialist traditions and a new sense of collaboration, of learning from each other and taking stock of a radically different world. The manifesto recognizes the Soviet Union's demise set socialism back, but was not the end of socialism, only the end of socialism's beginnings. and the road to socialism, communism is long. The manifesto described a world divided, a complex world full of shifting new alliances, but new potential. On one side are the countries struggling to assert national identity, sovereignty, gain a foothold of development. Not all are building socialism, but they're struggling to break free and develop global relations and exchanges. Imperialist pressure on each effort at socialist revolution continues, but also attacking every effort of economic and political progress. Large developing capitalist countries such as Brazil, India, Russia, Turkey are re-examining their options and past alliances. The BRICS and the Shanghai Cooperation confirm that there's new possibilities. And Latin America and Africa are embracing this and are in upheaval, and they're reviving. China's development and trade challenges the rounds of new sanctions that punish every defiant country, whether Syria, Cuba, Venezuela, DPRK, Korea, or Yemen, with blockading medicine, oil, food. But suddenly, the global South has the potential of more favorable trade and infrastructure. This opens liberating potential. Now, in this global divide, on the other side is a gang of predators, literally predators who can only survive by drinking the blood, raiding the resources and the labor, dominating global markets. US imperialism leads this pack of hungry predators. The unipolar world is dominated by the IMF, the World Bank, and NATO, the US commanded military alliance. Any infraction brings destabilizing economic sanctions and regime change operations. And that is the world that is being challenged. Into this mix, the US and the EU and their allies have an army of propagandists who claim that they represent freedom and human rights and democracy, that regime change operations are popular uprisings, these color revolutions. China's refusal in all of this to go along with the sanctions, especially on Russia, it's a game changer globally. Other nations can now stand up because they have an alternative. And what a surprise. The entire global South has stood up to these sanctions. To the shock of US war strategists, no countries in Africa, Latin America, the Caribbean, and most of Asia accepted the US, EU, UK sanctions. The open defiance of so many countries and major trading blocs is a stunning confirmation of the weakening hold of US economic power. China's productive capacity, its economic growth, is a very real threat because capitalism is all about markets. Capitalism must expand, and the US and the Western Bloc are no longer the main producer or the main lender. What a blow. US global hegemony is threatened, and the unipolar world's days are numbered. The clash is it's larger than just a gas pipeline. The US economy is focused on military production. It's the largest exporter of weapon systems. It's an essential prop to the economy. It's the endless capacity to destroy, but not to rebuild. So in closing, I want to say that US imperialism is unable to match China's Belt and Road development plans. More than 138 countries have signed on for new ports, railroads, industrial hubs, and low-interest loans. China's Belt and Road development loans are more attractive than US weapon systems and the harsh austerity plans that are attached to the IMF and World Bank loans. So these contradictions are growing. 90% of all trade in the world is done in US dollars. And the US policy now of raising interest rates strengthens the dollar against every other currency. It's going to make food and essentials far more expensive everywhere in the world, not just in the US or in the West. It will hurt most of the poorest people of the world, where 85% of the people of this planet live, in the global south. This is the world we face. Capitalism, capitalist overproduction is a permanent feature of capitalism. It drowns and overwhelms their system, but it means hunger, not plenty, for billions. Our task is to do everything in our power to make this decaying, corrupt, brutal system ungovernable. We need to stand with and defend the many forms of resistance that are emerging. They represent the future, and they are coming forth. A better world is in birth.
I'm Michael Hudson. I'm appearing here for the International Manifesto Group. If you like this video and ones like it, please subscribe. For more information, go to the address on the screen.